Hello, my fellow Americans. I'm Alex Gervasi, one of the campaign managers for Thomas Dewey, the greatest presidential candidate of all time. Dewey was born in the great state of Michigan. He was a senior class president and yearbook editor-in-chief in his high school, and he went on to graduate from the University of Michigan. He was a special prosecutor of New York, taking on organized crime and gang activity. His very fruitful efforts led to mafia men such as Dutch Schultz and Lucky Luciano placing him on their targets list. Further in his life, he attained the title of Manhattan District Attorney, earning himself the name Gangbuster and getting 3 movies based on his endeavors. Furthermore, he attained the coveted title of New York Governor. As governor, he doubled state aid for education, increased salaries for state employees, and reduced the state's debt by over $100 million. He would go on to run against FDR in the 1944 election, winning 45.9% of the popular vote compared to FDR's 53.4%, coming the closest anyone has ever come to defeating FDR in an election. These are all good reasons you should vote for our future president, Thomas Dewey. Now, let's talk about reasons why you shouldn't vote for Harry Truman.
Thank you, Mr. Gervasi, for passing the mic. Harry Truman is unfit to be president. When he was vice president of FDR, he rarely got contacted, even to be informed of major decisions. The president and vice president met alone together only twice during their time in office. Truman had been vice president for 82 days when President Roosevelt died on April 12, 1945. God rest his soul. Truman asked Eleanor Roosevelt if there was anything he could do for her after hearing of FDR's death. And she replied, "Is there anything we can do for you? Because you're the one in trouble now." In response to the railroad strike in 1946, Truman drafted a note saying, "Every single one of the strikers and their leaders have been living in luxury. Now I want you who are comrades in arms to come with me and eliminate the Lewises, the Whitneys, the Johnstons, the communist Bridges, aka all-important Union officials, and the Russian senators and representatives. Let's put transportation and production back to work. Hang a few traitors, and make our own country safe for democracy." Additionally, he called for a law that would have drafted any railroad striker into the U.S. Army, and it almost passed. Now, admittedly, I've only touched on some of the more minor things that Truman has done. However, we need to address the little boy and fat man in the room. Truman is the only person in history to have detonated atomic weapons against human beings. Not just once, but twice. Not only that, but those atomic strikes were not carried out against armed militants. Truman's targets were innocent Japanese civilians who had no chance of surviving their incoming annihilation from a weapon that not only erased their cities in an instant, but also left residual radiation for days afterward. Truman's decision to use atomic weapons against the Japanese will undoubtedly alter warfare now and forever. The justification that may be presented for the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki is that this was the only way Japan would ever surrender, or that this action prevented further casualties on both sides. However, some in Truman's cabinet suggested other promising avenues that did not involve military action, such as the plan to threaten the already losing Japanese first with the bomb, warn them about the possibility of a Soviet invasion, and promise fair treatment of Japanese citizens and of the emperor if they surrendered now. Now, considering all of this, tell me, if the Germans had access to atomic weapons and had dropped 2 in England, wouldn't we perceive their actions as war crimes? If you can't think of any reason to not vote for Truman, let me help you. Here is over 129,000